Do you struggle with your car control? Do you struggle with setups? I found a secret that I'm currently using, and this allows me to have more control, better setup changes, and less tire wear. Now the best thing is, this is also available for different simulators, and another great juicy part of this, that it is completely free and it's gonna stay that way. Let's get into it. Now, whenever you overdrive the car, we are thinking understeer and oversteer, yeah? We're just pushing our car too much in the corner. We try to use additional steering input, but the car or the front wheels are just not gripping, and we have understeer and we, let's say, run wide, or we get like a track limit because we have that understeer. Same as for throttle behavior. If you're too rough on the throttle, you will lose the car like mid-corner, and it can be very difficult to feel and see your inputs and lose control. Now, what you can do is buy really expensive gear that will tell you, hey man, your steering wheel gets heavier, 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 then it gets light, and then I feel the understeer. That's very nice. So just spend 2K on really expensive gear, and then sometimes you still don't know what you're doing. So this app is going to help you out to find out whenever you're understeering, and if you can avoid that a little bit, then you probably are gonna have less wear. And if you're gonna make setup changes using this app, you can actually see that the front tires are not understeering anymore. So let's get into the sim and see what I'm talking about. So in a normal situation, you're gonna have this, yeah? We're gonna steer into the corner, and we, like with the steering wheel, I cannot really feel how much understeer I'm having in this corner, yeah? So I will use it, and then like now I don't really know if I understeer or not. And if I don't know this, then obviously I'm gonna like slow the car down, wear the tires additionally, and this can be very complicated when you're just starting out, or you have like a more entry-level wheelbase that will just not give you that info. So let's talk about how to solve this. This is an overlay called Race Element. Now, I've seen different overlays and they're all really good, but this particular overlay software has a really awesome feature, and let's talk about it, shall we? So we have a radar that I'm using. I will also show you a little bit about this, but first we're gonna look at wheel slip, and we're gonna add this overlay into our car. So this app, I will get into that later a little bit, or follow my newsletter. I will talk about this in my newsletter as well. That link is down below. So wheel slip, and let's just get that wheel slip over here on the screen. Now you can change up the wheel slip when you turn it off. It has multiple functions, so you can adjust it and let it show you values whenever you get into steering situations. I kept them on default. It may not be optimal, but just for the purpose of this video, you can see how they actually work. So now we have them in our car, and whenever we push throttle or steering, we're gonna have wheel slip. You know, I will not get into wheel slip because I really need to study that subject a lot more to actually know what I'm talking about. But what it basically means, if you have too much wheel slip, the wheel starts spinning and scrubbing the asphalt too much. So you can see the balloons here. They are showing me the current wheel slip, and whenever they turn blue, we get understeer. So let's have a look in this next corner section. So you can see they're turning blue, and they're turning blue because this setup is just very understeery by nature. You can see they're constantly turning blue when I understeer. Now, if I just didn't overdrive the car, then they stay gray, and the bigger they are, the more wheel slip we have. So that would be in fast corners and all that good stuff, yeah? So again, if I'm start overdriving the car, they turn blue and I actually have understeer. Now you can still adjust this, but how does this help in our setup builds? So I was using Arnoud's preset. Now, for the people who follow me, you kind of know what it is. Let's make a very pointy car real quick and see how to make sure we don't get understeer, but we get, let's say, oversteer. Let's have a look. This should be fine. Lot less brake bias. Less traction control, ABS. Okay, this should be okay. So now I made setup changes that makes the car really dominant on its front tires. Now, whenever the balloons turn super big, that means we have more wheel slip, so we have potentially more temperature, and we're actually using the tire a lot more. So have a look in this first section. Compared to that other clip we just saw, I'm still understeering here a little bit. You can see the front balloons are actually getting a lot bigger. And this tells us that we're actually using the tires, the front tires, a lot better. They're still turning blue a little bit, so we need to adjust it in the menus that it's not turning blue that fast, because I actually don't feel the understeer. So, and you can also see how it starts oversteering, they turn red. Now they will also turn red when I'm full accelerating. So there again, there's like the setup changes you can make in race element itself. But now I have a proper understanding all of a sudden whenever I'm understeering. Again, this corner, force oversteer, and then when it's oversteering, they turn red. Boom shakalaka. Now, another neat feature is the radar. Now I'll show you some footage from my VR environment, and this allows me for my audience to see this radar. I'm actually not using it myself, but you can use it on your own, like flat screen, and you will have a way more detailed radar than what Assetto Corsa Competizione is currently giving you. Now, this overlay has still a lot more things you can do. You can play around with setups, compare them, you have a fuel calculator, and the best thing is you can use it in iRacing and Assetto Corsa, the normal one, and also Race Room for ones who are interested in this. I would really check the link down below if you want to download this. I think it's really an eye-opener, especially if you're on entry-level wheelbases that not really give you the force feedback, but then at least you're gonna have the feedback in the screen as well, confirming that you're overdriving the car. Now, there is still one other element about race element that I'm gonna share, but first I really want to ask you to subscribe to the channel and like this video. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it is fast approaching, so if you would do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe button, that would really help me out. Much appreciated. Now, the next feature, or like a little bit of a strong point of element overlays, is that it is really light on your PC and on your CPU, and this is what actually is amazing. I mean, you can have the nicest looking overlays in the world, but if they take up like half your beef of your GPU, what's the point, right? So this, I spoke with the developer, and he said to really hammer on this subject, that it's so light on your CPU usage, and also giving you a very high FPS in the overlays, which is also important when you're looking at these balloons. They have very high FPS, so they give you a lot of detailed information real time. There are two more other overlays that I am using with my sim racing. Those ones I will put down below in the description as well. If you have questions about those, I don't know, leave a comment. I read them all. The comments are really important. I'm talking a little bit about setup changes here, but I actually created a video on the channel that goes really deep into setups, and I would really recommend you to watch that video if you're interested in fixing your car setup and get a deep understanding what it all means, what it all does. And that one I will put right here.